Trump News, Live, Elon Musk praises effective previous administration but leaves out ex-president. As the 6th of January committee prepares for a summer of what promise to be shocking and disturbing hearings about the Capitol riot, Donald Trump has laid into committee member Liz Cheney, claiming that she has taken her opposition to him to insane extreme. From what people tell me, from what I hear from other congressmen, she's like a crazed lunatic. She's worse than anyone else, he told the Washington Post in an interview. From what I've heard, she's worse than any Democrat. The committee's first public hearing since last year is set for 9th of June. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump is facing a complex night of Republican primaries, as two of his most conspicuous endorsees, Madison Cawthorn and Mehmet Oz, await potentially career-changing results in North Carolina and Pennsylvania, where Mr. Cawthorn has become a pariah in much of the GOP because of various recent scandals. Dr. Oz is disliked and even despised by much of Mr. Trump's base because of his long record of liberal positions. Court allows Jan 6 Oath Keeper to leave his house. At a hearing today, one of several members of the Oath Keepers militia indicted for his behavior on January 6, 2021 was granted a reprieve of sorts, permission to leave home confinement and instead abide by a court. Joshua A. James has pleaded guilty in the case, which also involves figures including the militia group's founder, Stuart Rhodes. Prosecutors say that the Oath Keepers who attended the Capitol riot stashed weapons in hotels around the D.C. area and expected Donald Trump to call them to use force to halt the electoral certification. Trump shares QAnon imagery on Truth Social. Since Joe Biden derisively called him the Great MAGA King in remarks last week, Donald Trump has begun semi-ironically embracing dark regal imagery. But a recent meme he's shared on Truth Social takes things up, or did. According to screenshots of the meme shared on Twitter on Monday, a Q could be seen behind the former president, who was shown seated on a throne and sporting a gold crown in the style of Game of Thrones. The words MAGA King also appeared behind Mr. Trump in the meme, in reference to U.S. President Joe Biden's recent remarks about his predecessor's Make America Great Again, MAGA, slogan. Musk praises Trump administration, but not Trump himself. Elon Musk had some positive things to say about the Trump administration, but not especially Donald Trump himself. The Trump administration, leaving Trump aside, there were a lot of people in the administration who were effective at getting things done, said Mr. Musk, at a conference in Miami, according to Insider Report. Trump official met with Jan 6 conspiracy mongers. The investigation into the events between the 2020 election and January 6, 2021 has focused in large part on meetings between Trump administration officials and outside figures who were specifically involved in Stop the Steal. Now, another such meeting has come to light. The Washington Post has confirmed that on 6th of January itself, Robert A. Destro, a senior Trump appointee at the State Department, met with podcaster Joe Oldsman and Michigan lawyer Matthew DePerno, both of whom claimed that a coup against Mr. Trump was being mounted by the 2024 watch. Haley to Iowa. Donald Trump is widely assumed to be all but certainly running for re-election in 2024, but it has long been clear that other top Republicans are laying the groundwork for their own campaigns, whether because they intend to challenge him or because they anticipate he might not. Now, the Des Moines Register reports a long-expected presidential contender is making one of the de jure early-on visits to Iowa. Nikki Haley, the former South Carolina governor who served as UN ambassador under the Trump administration. McCarthy shrugs off Jan 6 audio question. CNN's Manu Raju has been asking Kevin McCarthy about the audio recordings of him discussing communications with Donald Trump after 6 January, and specifically about inconsistencies between what he said on taped conference calls with his members and what Mr. Trump. Here's what Mr. McCarthy had to say. Lauren Boebert slams companies for offering to help pay for abortions. The uproar over the apparently imminent overturning of Roe v. Wade has seen several major companies offer to pay travel costs for women seeking abortions who will have to travel across state lines to. In response, far-right Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert had this message: As many have pointed out, Ms. Boebert herself has previously mocked people for taking parental leave after having children. Trump shares QAnon meme on Truth Social. Donald Trump has gaily seized on Joe Biden's recent derision of him as the Great MAGA King, sharing kitschy images of him in dark regalia knocked up by his more zealous fans. But in his eagerness to embrace the label, he has perhaps inadvertently offered up fuel to the fevered imaginations of dogged QAnon believers. Report: Jan 6 Committee preparing for hearings. As the 6th of January Select Committee gears up for what promises to be a dramatic set of hearings over the summer, one question is central to its members' discussions: the extent to which they need to focus on former President Donald Trump as they piece together the chain of events that led to the worst attack on the Capitol in more than. The Washington Post has released an excellent deep dive report that includes this account of a discussion between two of the panel's members last month. Democratic Representative Stephanie Murphy, Florida, insisted the committee should focus less on former President Donald Trump and do more to examine the security and intelligence failures that led to the breach of the Capitol by a pro-Trump. She also urged the committee to look harder at what can be done to prevent another attack, according to people familiar with the matter. The other member, Republican Vice Chair Liz Cheney, Wyoming, argued that the committee should keep an intense focus on the former president. Rep. Cheney's view is that security at the Capitol is a critical part of the investigation, but the Capitol didn't attack itself, said Jeremy Adler, a spokesman for the tense discussion, which played out in a conference room tucked inside the world's largest library, where members posed for pictures with historic texts such as the Gettysburg Address, reflected just one among numerous weighty questions the committee must resolve before nationally televised hearings kick. Trump agrees to limit his Twitter engagement. Many Trump fans are eager to see their leader back on Twitter, and Elon Musk has said that he thinks the former president's account should never have been. But according to financial filings from the company that will oversee the IPO of his own platform, Truth Social, the ex-president has agreed to limit what he can post on Twitter and when. Under the agreement, Mr. Trump must post anything unrelated to politics first on Truth Social, and can only post on another social media site 6 hours later, the federal securities filing shows. But if Mr. Trump wants to post on a personal social media account anything related to political messaging, political fundraising or get out the vote efforts, he can do so at any time. Graham Massey has the story. Trump has agreed to limit himself from Twitter, according to financial filings. Former president has claimed he will not go back to platform even if Elon Musk buys it.